Hello, hello, hello. I hope you can hear me now. Welcome to the stream, Ludwin. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. I think I was talking to no one. Thank you. I'm gonna be eating them right now on stream. Because they're my lunch. I don't know how to make them. I got... There's literally no crunch. I just sort of let it sizzle in oil as its skin was getting melted off. I froze them and then I boiled them while they were frozen. And then after boiling them, I'm like, what if I tried frying them instead? And so I tried frying them after boiling them. And it failed and started burning. So I stopped it. So I couldn't make it crispy because it was just gonna burn the pan. And I didn't want another burnt pan in this household because of me. What do you mean waited? Should I have waited till after the boiling? I also fucking... What? What? I didn't do anything! So when I put them in the pan with the oil, they just basically sat in oil just to get stuck to the bottom of the pan. I tried making it a crisp outside, but... Oh, boiling them's fine. I can boil them. I wasn't trying to boil them. They were already boiled. I wanted to fry them after. So after boiling them, I had this brilliant idea of, okay, now that they're unfrozen and I boiled them, I don't want to just eat them boiled. I want to try and fry them because I wanted to do something different. So I tried frying them in the oil. And then the skin just kept coming off, and then the stuffing kept coming out, and then it just kept getting stuck to the pan, the bottom of the pan, and then it started burning to the bottom of the pan, and I was like, fuck! So then I just sort of, gave up. So I had to stop so I didn't make another mess of another pan. It was, but, I don't know. Putting them in oil after and letting them, like, sizzle added something. I don't know what. Yes, Ludwin. I boiled them, and then I wanted to fry them. And that is what I did. I boiled and then I fried. I also raked the leaves. Now there's a giant pile that I need to distribute. But I got the first half of it done. Just took about 5 days. What? I don't know what I was doing. It was the spur of a moment thinking. I was like, I want them fried. What if they tasted good fried? Because after I was boiling them, I'm like, I had them boiled long enough. And so, I wanted to try and fry them after I boiled them, and then it just failed. And now they're just a big mess that got torn apart And they look nothing like dumplings. They kind of look sad. But that's okay, because they taste delicious. Gordon Ramsay would be proud. Hi, Ripper, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a nice day today. Expert cock between Maichi, the expert cock. Man, penises scare me. Just saying. Vaginas also scare me. So, they're even. Because I need to work for my mom. Okay! I hope you have a nice time working for your mom, Ludwin. Good luck! This weekend was fun. Oh. I got to rake leaves. Yeah. I'm boiling on stream. I'm in a hot boiling water because I'm answering a Twitter thing. How's your day, Rippa? How have you been? What have you been up to? What has people been up to if anybody else is here? It's my first time playing, but I know... Baho jaw? I can't read that. I'm sorry. Hi, Jacuzzi! Hi, Raven! Welcome to the stream! Welcome! Thank you for joining! Thank you! Yeah, it's a jacuzzi. It's a good jacuzzi. Whatever. I spelled that wrong. I don't care. I didn't want to go backwards. Haha! Thank you. It is a nice jacuzzi. I hope you're having a nice day today. I'm almost done my dumplings, so then we can get to the game. Nice Raven, you're gonna be so disappointed in my dumplings. My dumplings fucking exploded. I do. Oh, me too. Rippa, I do. I own it. A friend gave it to me. I'm really appreciative of that friend. Still need to play with that friend too. I've just been playing with Unreals for the moment because of my computer. No disappointment, only sadness. At least you're not disappointed. So that's always a plus. Sadness is a no-go. I'm sorry you are sad. I'm doing my best getting through these dumplings. Sugar dumplings. I don't know when the next time I'm going to eat is, so I'm just stuffing my face full of dumplings. Dumplings have iron. Actually, it's supposed to have meat. I'm eating pork dumplings. Maybe I should have just boiled these fuckers in oil. You know? Maybe I should have just not used water and just used oil. And then maybe they would have boiled crisper. When I get a better computer, probably. I do want to do Among Us streams with everyone, even in the Discord. I want to do Among Us stuff. It's just, I'm just one person trying to do all of this at once. I know I'm getting help, but it's more worrisome about my computer, and it's more like I need to have multiple me's everywhere because my daily life and my internet life are both pretty busy. But it's mostly my daily life that's been eating up my time. Weekends especially. Weekends are the most eventful for me than weekdays. Oh, I know. I already caught my house on fire once at an old apartment that I used to live at. I tried making fried chicken and I caught the stove on fire by letting it sit. Letting the oil chill for too long because I thought it was gonna do some like cackles or whatever, but no. Oil just chills there until you put something in and then everything explodes. Yep. I'm never making fried chicken again. Not without supervision or somebody who knows how to make fried chicken. Because I'm gonna be like, you make the fried chicken. I'm gonna burn down the house. I zoned out thinking about while I was chewing. I zoned out thinking about me holding the paper towel. I zoned out thinking about me holding the paper towel and in the sink. It was on fire because I was trying to wipe something up while the stove was still on at one point. And I had roommates at the time. And so I tried wiping up the mess that I made on the thingy by accident on the stove. And I caught the paper towel on fire while trying to clean it up. And I was like, oh shit. So I run over to the sink, but my brain couldn't comprehend which faucet water to turn on. So I stood over the sink for a good minute while the paper towel was just burning, while I was trying to think up a way to figure out how to work the sink, because my brain stopped working. My brain was like, I'm here, I needed to put this out, I'm at the sink. Oh, nice, Rippa. Very good. And I'm like, I'm at the sink, and I forgot all my humanly ways of doing things. My brain just went into alien mode, thinking, oh, it's just fire, I'll be fine. And then my roommate had to come up, yell at me, being like, what are you doing? And turn on the faucet for the fire to be taken out because I was taking too long. I was standing in front of the sink with the piece of paper towel just on fire, debating which faucet to turn on, because one was cold and one was hot, and I didn't want to put on the hot water because my brain was like, no, that's not correct, this is fire. And then my brain's like, cold water, but which one's the cold water? Oh, but then, and then my other process of my brain was like, oh, but the cold water faucet handle is over the fire. I can't do that because I'll need to go over the fire and I'll burn myself. But I didn't have to. There were multiple ways that I could do it. There was multiple ways that I could have put out the fire. And I could have just fucking done it, but I didn't. I just stood there staring at it. I like human alcohol. And sometimes, I don't like the taste, but I do enjoy drinking sometimes. I'm not an alcoholic. I rarely drink though. But when I do, it's a time. But yeah, so I just stood there staring at the fire being like, the fuck? And so my roommate had to come up and save the house before I burnt it down. So that was cool. Me too. I want a deep fried chicken. Hi, Joker. There's a big... Oh, you're good. Not everyone can make it, I understand. Thank you, though. Welcome to the stream! Welcome, Joker! Welcome! Thank you for joining! Thank you! I hope you're having a nice day today. How did the tournament go? Did you win? Who won? I'm almost done my dumplings so we can start playing the game. Water. I spilled the water because I was drinking the water. Man, I wish I had sauce with the dumplings, but there was no more in the package. I used it all. I don't understand how they do the sauce packets. Is it like they only put 2, so do you make half of them? And then you make the other half? Because you can't save them unless you like open them and then put it inside a little Tupperware. I guess I could do that in the future. Oh, nice, Joker! Congratulations! Congrats! I'm happy you won! That's always good. I ate so many dumplings. Okay. Okay. Haha. Time. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen? This. Ha ha! It's the game! It's the game! Oh, nice. But you did it in the end. Yes, I have a PS4 and a 3DS and a Game Boy Advance. And a Game Boy Color. A PS3. I think that's it. And this PC. But other than that, I think that's it. I still need to work with my capture card. I haven't touched it because it just lagged so bad that it just... I don't want to take the time to... I'll figure it out. I just need patience, and right now my patience is not with that capture card. Okay. Let's continue on, shall we? We are loading this data. Yep. Man, those were good dumplings. I might have fucked them up hardcore, but like, they were good. I like them. We're on chapter 9. Let's fucking go. Things are picking up. Weariness and a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day. What's wrong? Kichi? You don't look so well. When did you go to sleep? It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday, I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. I told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try to sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course there wasn't anyone there. Bye! Bye, Rippa! Bye! I hope to see you again soon! I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Or maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. It might be cold. It might be cold! I don't really have an... It might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite. You do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school? Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, would it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Ding dong! Startled, I walked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. Looked. But it says locked. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Rina. It was Rina. Rina-chan came to get you. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the day off? Rina was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious and she always looked out for me. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Rina's fault. It was probably mine. I had to have been my cold. It just had to be. I'll rest. Sorry. Then I'll go send her off for you. Mom headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Rina, so I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep deprived. I quickly fell into a deep slumber. Sleepiness. I had only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table, I found lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. It likely had to do with Dad's work. This happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. The final round of the tournament, someone named Dead Hades was... Yay, you did it! They would probably be back sometime after dinner. On the note, it said, "Their insurance card is in the cabinet. Take it and go to the hospital." There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it really was just leftovers from the morning, and just in case, went to the hospital. You went to the hospital! Normally, I'd never be here in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital's sign came into view. Erie Clinic was written rather stylishly on the sign. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of the Hinamazawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. They must be making a mint. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. Mabere-san, please make your way to the examination room. Okay, let's go. We're going to the room. It's Rina in disguise! No, I don't know. I don't know. After properly answering all of the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." They gave me a shot and 3 days worth of medicine. I thought it was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I'd been having lately, then it was worth it. Nope, nope, brain. Nope, nope, brain. Nope, you're not saying that on stream, brain. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be irregulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping, if it just wasn't for that word. Must have been an Onikakushi. I wonder. She was still pretty young. Might have just eloped. With whom? That man from Tokyo who visits every season. The young one with that big camera. Bruh! 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 Were they in a relationship that was scandalous? Didn't you know they were getting along pretty well? Were they talking about Tomitaki-san? I could feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that, but you have to make preparations before you elope. Leave a note, or quit their job or something. It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or message. The thought that I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad. Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes. So her name was Takano-san? That woman with Tomitaki-san. And she worked at this clinic? Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow. But of course, Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, of Hinamazawa. As long as I was in Hinamazawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. Right? Maybe it was because I was talking outside, but my appetite had suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road where I'd be in a car's way? I moved farther off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. Yo! Let's see if I can do a deep voice for this man.
Mabara-san, good day to you.
It was Oishi-san. He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me.
What's up today? School on break?
I don't know how low I can go. Hi, Hades. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you're having a nice day. Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and head back home.
That's great. I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together? If you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me.
I lie down after going home anyway. And I didn't really have a cold. I doubt you want to eat at one of these... Is that him saying it? Or is that...
I doubt you want to eat at one of these local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive. It's all that, alright? I know a pretty good place.
I'd finally begun to understand Oyashi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Mazawa. I guess I'm a crazy person with a crazy laugh. It's Oyashi's new voice. I went with Oyashi-san riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie.
I'm sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you?
No. I recalled Rina, who had been listening to the phone conversation all the time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. With a big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting to the city changed from dirt to pavement. The head swiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This was where Tomitaki-san died.
They've hit a snag in the investigation regarding Tomitaki-san.
Oyashi-san spoke with peering at me from the corner of his eye.
They believed it was caused by hallucinations, given how he was clawing on his own throat. But a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course the autopsy was done with that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads. You know that thing you see in comics all the time? Where there's a drug that, if you put it in them, it doesn't leave any traces? It exists. Sunkinli-kul something or other. Well, it's pretty common. But you see, there doesn't seem to be any kind of drug that would cause Tomitaki-san to react like that. Then you're saying the police concluded Tomitaki-san just died from the curse? I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. They are! That's why I want to get to that part, but I don't think it's in this chapter. I think it's in further chapters. I want the pig destroyer. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be dissociated from Tomitaki-san's mysterious death. Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. But putting aside the cause of death, without a doubt, he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating before he died. That was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans. That made me a bit relieved. Oyashi-san's voice! We passed in front of the rather desolate but still busier than Hanamazawa train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot, and I followed Oyashi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of a weekday. 2, please, non-smoking.
This way, please! When you're ready to order, please call me over! We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oyashi-san in the booth.
So what do you think? Aren't the waitresses' outfits here cute?
Huh? Well, I guess.
This shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food you see.
Uh-huh. Oishi-san, you're leering.
Hmm? Am I really?
Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Is that breadsticks? No, what is that? It looks cool. Oh, I wasn't reading. I was too busy looking at the menu. Sorry. Um,
Yesterday we talked about Hinamazawa's past, didn't we?
yeah, that it was the village of man-eating demons, or something like that.
I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my grandmother about it this morning.
Grandmother? Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket. Who the fuck is talking? Oishi-san? Is your grandmother alive? Or is this... Who the fuck is talking? Alright. It's not him. He didn't talk to his grandmother at all. Oishi-san, you have a grandma?
Turns out that Hinamazawa used to be called Onikakushi, or Ogre's Abyss.
Onikakushi. That's quite the... Good! The underworld's... Ha ha! Or maybe it is him. It must be him because would his grandmother still be alive? I mean, I don't know how his family tree goes. Oishi-san is very old, but I don't know anything about his family tree. Maybe his grandma is still alive. I don't know, but I don't think that's okay. I think I figured it out. Okay. The name is still around. Whoops. Oh, great! We can look at the menu! Is this a pasta place? It kind of looks like a pasta place. There's like a bread basket there. Is this an Italian restaurant? What kind of... Konnichiwa! Hi, Godrius! Welcome to the stream! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Thank you for joining! Thank you, thank you! I hope you're having a nice day today. It looks like they're at an Italian restaurant. I don't know. The marsh where the Shinto priest's wife drowned herself is still called Ogre's Abyss. It's said that the depths of that marsh connect to the realm of the demons. Of course, nobody told me anything about such an ominous marsh. So it is him!
And you see, it appears they were both feared and revered.
A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was kind of a deification? A village of inhuman creatures.
Seems the demons were senin or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts, taking villagers with incurable illnesses into the Ogre's Abyss and healing them. For example,
even if we are calling them demons, Tengu long-nosed goblins or senin would be a more apt description.
They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons.
But they were still man-eating demons, according to the story my grandma told me. As payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went.
The price of curing her son? Was herself?
I have no idea who's talking. We are playing Higurashi, When They Cry. We are in chapter 9. Things are picking up. We're talking about the curse right now. He's with a cop I am playing.
That's unsettling.
Of course the mother took her son and ran. Then, you see, all the people who lived in Onikakushi, the demons chased them down, rounded them up, and captured them. The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine.
In the end, it seems both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end.
There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in the story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale.
Huh? There are plenty of old fables like this!
In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee.
But well, there are quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onikakushi band together to capture their prey.
I recalled that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped.
Normally, they hunted down a single person and they chose who it was going to be beforehand.
Huh? That caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant.
My grandmother told me that you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said.
Okay, good luck, Godrius! So what does this all mean? So his grandmother, so he heard it when as a child. Must have. Alright. Child. Alright.
It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems there's that kind of rule.
Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities. In other words, what happens if you break the rule?
Well, they're man-eating demons after all.
Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the predators were all the village families. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die, when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then, Oishi-san, I guess it looks like it's either the village families or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes.
What do you think, Mabera-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please.
That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say the last part. I waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking. Last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappeared. Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around his coffee. Oh shit, it was him.
So those friends of Satoshi-san, meaning your group of friends, Mabero-san, I had a bit, really just a little bit, okay, of background checking done on them.
If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have been furious, since he told me earlier not to suspect my friends. But as I was now, I couldn't.
This might sound pretty stupid, Mabera-san. If you feel that it's stupid, please say so. I'll just stop.
Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression that I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Kikichi. Kichi, this is probably the last one. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. The victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonozaki-san. Multiple altercations. Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up. No, it's not.
In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in that accident. Right? They had a daughter. Her name is Satoko Hojo-san.
Huh? Satoko meaning Satoko? Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. Oh god! I realized it as well and quickly quieted down.
The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year, you see. Their daughter is Rika Furude-san.
Rika-chan was...
The housewife who died in the fourth year you know already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody as she had lost both of her parents in the accident. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were drying. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from, but clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the 4th year, by the way, he was Satoko-san's older brother.
What? Wait, just a second. I took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Kachimabera. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard.
All of the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That has to be just a coincidence. Mabera-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking.
Mian? Satoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? You're telling me all of my friends? It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Oh, Rina is different, isn't she? Rina isn't connected with the victims at all.
Rina Ryugu was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims,
he said in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected?
Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamazawa, she was suspended from school.
Huh.
It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows.
Rina did that? She broke all the windows at her school? That same silly Rina had. I couldn't even imagine it.
It seems that, after her 3-day suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist, and was diagnosed with dysautonomia. Dysautonomia.
I am so sorry. Dysautonomia.
She was given weeks of counseling and medication.
I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I'd heard that it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Rina's easygoing personality.
And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversations he had with Rina-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that.
What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret.
She mentioned the word oyashiro-sama.
Why?
It felt like someone's stone-cold
hand was caressing my back. Why? Why had Rina spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamazawa? What?
Seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her.
My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told.
A while after that, she moved to Hinamazawa. Ah, that's right. She's not an outsider.
Huh? According to their residency register,
the Ryugu family used to reside in Hinamazawa. Rina-san moved to Ibaraki right after she finished elementary school.
My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. Like when my lamp broke. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension.
Mabera-san, are you alright? Shall we stop?
Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I understand Rina. Then, how about the last victim, Tomitaki-san? Who was he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal.
All of them! Have you forgotten, Mabera-san? Didn't you spend the night at the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves.
Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush.
We should get going. Ah, Mabera-san, did you take your afternoon medicine?
I had completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. I got another glass of water and we left the shop after I chugged it down. We got in the car and returned to Hinamazawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. But dump! That big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from the cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomitaki-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car.
I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation.
Why did you talk to me? I blurted out with the question. Really just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer.
I did check with you first, didn't I? If we should just stop.
Not that! Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating this string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I looked suspicious to Oishi-san, as I was part of Mion's circle of friends.
I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my grandma wants. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light.
So, Oishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them? Oishi-san didn't really give a response. It felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings.
This is mostly my intuition from 30 years on this job. Mabera-san, you're the one in danger.
Huh? I wanted to reply with, that was absurd, but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it.
I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Onikakushi next year. So I want to settle things.
In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Onikakushi, I might be the victim.
I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in the string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again, or so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing.
Pressure from what?
Someone in Hinamazawa. We've arrived. Is this fine?
After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears. I was about to read eyes, but unless they're that ugly, they shouldn't be hurting your eyes.
I won't mind if you just forget everything I told you today, but I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year.
So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens?
It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, Mabera-san.
I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it.
Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick.
I didn't really give any sort of response.
I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now.
The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair. Telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened? This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing. And I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it, I don't want to die. For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Which one, Mabera or Oishi-san? 'Cause sounds like they're both gonna die. Sounds like they both know too much. I wonder how much time I had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it? What if his parents are dead? Hello, this is the Mabera residence. Oh, he's alive! Hello! Oh, he's alive! Hello, this is Mion. How you doing? Is this one of Kechi's friends? Kechi is resting now, but shall I put him on? Huh? Is this his dad? So sorry. Idiot! You fell for it. Huh? Kei-chan! After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I'm relieved that you seem well. Rina was really worried, you know. Satoko-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rika-chan said how unfortunate he's sick. Heh, looks like everyone's making a big deal out of it. Well, you know, so Kei-chan, is now a bad time to come pay you a visit? A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying. My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them, so I'll bring you some. Hey now, you'll catch my cold. Not to worry, both Rina and I are too stupid to catch a cold. See you! Be there in a bit! She hung up cheerfully. Oh shit, Rina. Rina's coming too. That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rina, but I guess if she was with Mion... Oh shit. Oh fuck. What's gonna happen? Oh shit. Oh fuck. I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. Something's gonna go down. How are you feeling? Did you take your medicine and rest? I did just that. Thank goodness you look well. I was worried. Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering, and Rina looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions. I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it. You don't say? It seemed my face appeared a bit sullen. See you, Joker! I hope you have a nice rest of your time! Hope you have a nice rest of your day! Bye-bye! It seemed my face... Then here, Kechi-kun. These are the mochi Mi-chan's grandma made. Rina held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Ah, thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion. Yeah. Ah, there's one that I made in there as well. I wonder if Kechi-kun can guess which one. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed the club meeting today. There are letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow. Were you checking if I was feeling better, or did you just come here for club activities? Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow. Man, what are you going to do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans? Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry. Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess. You're right, let's get going. Ah, by the way, Kei-chan? Yeah? What did you eat for lunch? The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. Water time! Water time. Ugh, more water time. Shit. The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I had never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why? Is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane and almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it, so I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied. So you ate out for lunch, Kechi-kun? The glimmer from Rina's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone, almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was. Seems you're with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he? Flop. The packaging from the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale. Oh? Kechi-kun, who is he? Could it be the person from before, I wonder? I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything? How do you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking. Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know. Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever. So, Kei-chan, what did you talk about? It seems like you got pretty worked up over it, too. We weren't talking about you guys. It didn't have anything to do with you, Arena. Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come up even though nobody asked about that? Rina's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peering further inside me. I dug my own grave. Oh shit. My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode. Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that. I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly. Kechi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true. We should both head back home. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was about to be closed, it opened again, slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peered in through the narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. See you, Kei-chan. Yeah. I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow, alright? Thud. The door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance and silence once again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. They knew what Oishi-san and I talked about? Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard. From the beginning when Oishi-san met me, just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing. And they were warning me that That was unnecessary. What was it that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oyashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole. As well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamazawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they were warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough that it let out a loud slap. I wanted to do the slap. If only that would wake me from this nightmare, but for some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Kechimabera. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down, calm down! Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamazawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone from Hinamazawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. That has to be it. Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Rina. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Oishi-san, and Rina was just correcting me on that. That's when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rina, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. It felt like my mind was mixed up with a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Nice. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything, they were really kind to me. Rina was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender, and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same too. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamazawa from Oishi-san and Tamataki-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Rina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious, after that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. And that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. And I even shouldn't have heard about the past incidents from Tomitaki-san the night of the Wananagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, if I just hadn't. That's right. So that's why they fucked Tomitaki-san. That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably fuck Oishi-san as well, for trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left unburied. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course, a guy like that is going to be fucked. Both Tomitaki-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamazawa. Those guys should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just fuck! Maybe that was supposed to be shit. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling, like I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them, after all. Ah, that reminds me. I need to eat those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Rina made. I remembered the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. I picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it, to fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. There were letters written from left to right on the newspaper, A, B, C, D, and E. Now then. They said Rina made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Rina's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So, well, that, just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one is Rina's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said her grandma made a ton of them and was told to give them some out, if I remembered correctly. Hi, senior plebeian. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you. Things are going well. I hope things are going well for you, too. Yeah, I'm at this part. The mochi part. So that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rina? She probably only made 1, so she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning, the one Rina had made was this one. E! For a moment, I thought it might have been a trap Mion laid, as she knew I'd pick up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Rina made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Alright, my tea is ready too. I'll start with the defending champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see. Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft, chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated this experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Rina's? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But well, first, a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little to no difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-informed and well-sized champion versus Rina the challenger, with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had 1 bite of Rina's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Choo-choo. It seems my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in. What is it? Needles! It's needles! What? What was this? It's needles! It's needles, isn't it? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then, after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Rina had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first, I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rina's hair was still quite long. And it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be hair. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Ah, yes, there was a hole for where thread goes, like it was a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well. Quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer. but a voice inside me already knew and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly, I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. I stuck my finger in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly, I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was intensely throbbing. Then it finally registered exactly what was mixed in with that mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat, plop, splort. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out to the hall and flew upstairs into my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat or warning or a reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamazawa? What is happening in Hinamazawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rina Mian and others, they consider me an enemy, and they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me, not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless marsh. This would be the easiest way to assassinate me. Poor plebeian. I eat mochi all the time, so this would be the easiest way to assassinate me. That's funny. What's a medicine that makes you commit suicide? Threat. What a good medicine. Hard to swallow. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was discerning if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Did you just punch your mom? I'll laugh you just punched your mom. Wah! Eek! I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door. Whoa! Kechi, what's the matter? Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yes. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up, and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well. Well, Kechi? Or how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? There was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rina and Mian. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get on up! They say wellness is a state of mind. Fuck you! I'd heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone. Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast's already ready. There isn't much time before Rina-chan comes and gets you. Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping second day. By the way, were you the one who got red bean paste all over the living room wall, Kitchi? You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, "I hate it if you miss school tomorrow," came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. For example, maybe I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Oishi-san enticing me with something unusual. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did something differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up flagging myself as someone who was not wanted. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could. I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea that I had just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. Catchy! Your food is going to get cold! Hurry up and get down here! Rina will be here if you don't hurry! I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked at my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rina. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Rina. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Bing bong! I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Rina had arrived. Mom hurried me along. Come on, Rina-chan's already here! Hurry, hurry! My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rina, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rina on the other side, was it the Rina I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway. I came since Kichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today, I wonder? The manner in which Rina was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rina I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death, and the terminal illness and suicide, and the lynching, and the disappearances. Forget it, forget all of it. Forget that Rina and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi, too. Forget. Rena, once again, asked to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great! Then let's go! Mi-chan is waiting! Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. I wonder what's gonna happen. Big stretch. But you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent she could do it. As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual. Then? Satoko-chan is clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. How? She was so cute! Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us. Oh my, Ketchi-chan and Rena-chan, aren't you two a bit late today? Myeon-chan said she was going on ahead. Uh-oh, did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder. We need to hurry up, Ketchi-kun. As we smiled and parted ways with our neighbor, they turned back towards me and stuck out a tongue. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile. Ah, Ketchi-kun smiled! Huh? What? Rena stopped and stared at me. I was thinking that you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Ketchi-kun, but now you seem fine. Fine! With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Ketchi Mabera, how can you still doubt Rena after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today, and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious? I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of the Onikakushi up until last night, I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for these past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. So, Ketchi-kun! Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. Ketchi-kun? I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Ketchi-mabera. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Ketchi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Di. Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow, I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see! So did you eat all of them, I wonder? My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Huh? What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Rina made? That homework, was it due today? Yeah, it's due today. Mi-chan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rina. Lies! I recalled that unexpected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rina's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rina? No, that was wrong. That was still Rina. Oishi-san told me, didn't he? Actually,
I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamazawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows.
Rina had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, the fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school breaking the windows with a bat. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk. Wind up, smash. Walk. Wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Rina smiling at me right now, but I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant, piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Rina treads across the broken shards walking towards me. Rina's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Rina came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room after being directed there by the teachers? Probably none of those. Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rina busting windows after window, undoubtedly, all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rina to continue. It was far too violent an act for them to seek refuge by looking the other way. That's not to say they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could do, protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rina's new target. What would Rina have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning, I would be the next window. Rina, staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and cracking underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. What? Then Rina struck me with a bat over and over again, like I was one of her windows. I crouched down onto the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rina didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. It was because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make as pleasant a sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rina wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. I'm so confused. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody saved me, turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gain nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually, there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut, and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rina momentarily lost herself in her anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled that Oishi-san told me.
And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversations he had with Rina-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that.
What does?
She mentioned the word oyashiro-sama.
Following that, Rina was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rina was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama. It seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of
was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow looking down at her.
That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rina did was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some curse. Except if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rina? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro's curse. In the aftermath, Rina had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rina. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rina's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or that Rina and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that, but that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of my opponent being a human or curse, I won't let it kill me, as if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. Kichi-kun? You've been making a really weird face. Why, I wonder? I wonder. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rina's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Rina could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. A boy? Yeah? As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Oh, ho, 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 ho! How befitting for the truant Kichi-san! Good morning to both of you, Kichi and Rina. Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan. Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently. What is this? How discouraging indeed! Kichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet. Yeah, take it easy on him for today, okay? Suddenly, there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey, K-chan! Did you get enough rest? It was Mion. My mind was full with the stuff about Rina, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember, Kechi, that hawkish gaze from yesterday. Yeah, morning. What's with that unenergetic greeting? Did you eat the mochi I brought you? Because I ate them, I'm like this. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over. Huh? What about the homework? Do you have an answer for which one was Rina's? I can't believe you'd forget your homework, Kichi-kun. Sheesh, then we can't help it. Time for your penalty. Me. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Kechi Mabera, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Okay. This free study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. Ah! My nose. After interacting with Oishi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understating things. It probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me, they were just biding their time, even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats. Welcome back, Rippa! Welcome back! Thank you for coming back. It's nice seeing you again. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. The chilling sensation of my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using this seat until last year when he disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Damn! I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never! But were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. With all of their suspicious behavior, a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends? Covering for them? My life was in danger. Or was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that should have been deliberated on a long time ago. But really, Rina and the rest of them? Were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Kechi Mabera? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that sewing needle might have been just an accident, right? How could you screw up and drop a sewing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. Both Rina and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously, but maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious, it was outright ludicrous, right? Rina just corrected me for lying, and Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Rina was standing outside our door eavesdropping for a good hour, you know. She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. for a whole hour outside your room? And is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from Oishi-san, didn't you? About what Rina did at her former school? But at the hospital, she said it was Oyashiro-sama's fault. Cut it out, Kechimabara. Don't you realize they're out to kill you? I inadvertently blurted those words out loud. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Rina and the others, part of me somewhere was still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. I knew that. But I was just your average student, a man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends, who I had been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday, now intended to kill me? Right? You're too soft, Kechi! This time, I remembered to keep my voice down so I only could hear it. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Rina and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oishi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would probably have happily jumped into that slice? I missed that word. My, Kechi-san! How rude of you to even think about leaving! The way Satoko spoke was typical and familiar. It almost physically hurt. Huh? Kechi-kun, is today not a good day? I wonder. And we were going to win big together. How? Seeing Rina's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey, Kechi, maybe Oishi-san is just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me? Slap. Trying to expurge such weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face. All right! Kechi-kun! Yeah, was Rina really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it was or not. I just wanted someone to say it was. God, yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive? Are you alright? Does your head hurt? Apparently, that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rina. You're pale! Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder. No, it's okay. Sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have the meeting without me. Upon hearing that, I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting. Mion pouted unhappily. Since Kei-chan was so bent on revenge match, we were even going to play that deduction game from before too. Kechi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch? How pathetic. I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head. Kechi doesn't seem to be well. How very unfortunate. It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. See you. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind, took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Hardened that heart, Kechimabara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them, because weren't they my friends? Part of me laminated my naivety while another part laminated the fact that I had lost something important by laminating over it in the first place. That's not the right word, but I have no idea how to pronounce that word. Laminating? It felt like my consciousness was being ripped out of my body. If this was Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, I was wrong for not believing in your curse, but I believe in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist, so seriously, give me a break. I beg you, come on. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he had just reached a good point to take a break or he was in a slump. So yeah, he doesn't understand the motivation creators have. Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it? I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business... I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought processes I had going all day long. Friends close to me? No, they used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted. People I could depend on when push came to shove. They were something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. I put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents, who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person from Hinamazawa I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. You sure about that? But if I told them everything that happened up until now, would they understand? Rena, for example. That neighborly Rena, who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in a heartbeat, in a blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in the past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Mabera family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air, it was easily possible in Hinamazawa. What was important here was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. As long as my parents were here, this house would be a safe haven for them. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who could be my ally would be Oishi-san. Him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Oishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now to get out of it, I had to rely on him, meaning it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves a bit as bait. Then, when the fish started gathering around, Oishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Oishi-san. No question, it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oishi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I need to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something, I just have to hide out there until Oishi-san arrived. Okay, I could almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by boogeymen, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah, it would probably be best if I had a concealed weapon for when things get rough. Typically, that would call for a switchblade, but that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remembered there was a metal bat at school. The metal bat. I could be confident with that when push came to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to teeter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or a memo. I could write down everything that's happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Oishi-san should be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. You gonna make a diary, Kichi-kun? Stretch! Oh god! The lightheadedness from the stretch. Ow. Ugh. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way back to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. Excuse me. In the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead, so I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Kechi Mabera, am in fear for my life. Bye, Underworld! I hope the Underworld has a nice time. Goodbye for now. See ya. Hope to see you again. I never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I'd write it myself. Yay! I'm glad the Underworld enjoyed. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Underworld. I do not know why they are after my life. Rena and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wryly at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage? I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here, I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was the chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was in too obscure of a location, then there was the risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back into its normal position. Yeah, it didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I needed to set it up such that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied, and I made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I never started off a conversation like this before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me. What is it, Kechi? I have a favor to ask of you. Please listen. Just in case, yeah? If it's not urgent, can we do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I didn't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I stated my request. Just in case, okay? If I die... Both of my parents' eyes went as wide as saucers. If I die, I want you to put my clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, then they'd probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock in shop class, and I really liked it. So, please? I made a clock in shop class. Technically. It was a cool clock. What's the matter? Kechi? Did something happen? Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response for when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now, I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. With the awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room. I want to go to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night. Saying only that, I left the living room. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that a bit. And secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Rena. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Hmm. Not feeling so hot. What does this tip do? Not feeling so hot. He's becoming a detective, everyone. Kechi-kun's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood? I wonder. Maybe he's on his period. Me-chan, that's gross. Yuck, 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 yuck. What the fuck? What do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan, maybe. I don't know. That day, Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right? Yeah, no mistake. That Oishi, he probably fed him something fishy. He was so serious. Kichi-kun's face was so pale. You see, you might not know this, but he's actually the messenger of Oyashiro-sama. Huh? What do you mean? Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie. Oh? Is that so? The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Oishi. Now that you mention it, it happened before Satoshi-kun transferred out. Transferred? You're so sweet, Rena! So this time, he's appeared before Kechi-kun. So Kechi-kun is going to be demoned away too? An empty silence hung in the air, and then it was suddenly interrupted by loud laughter. Intriguing. Run. Ooh. Okay. This is a good spot to stop. Yay! We made it! We made it! We made it further! Wow, things are sure picking up with the mochi and the school people. Wow. That's just a bunch of stuff going on all at once. Um I'm excited to finish chapter 1. I think there's only 2 more chapters left, I think. So next week is when we're gonna finish Higurashi, I guess. Chapter 1 of Onikakushi era. So, yeah! Thank you everyone for joining me, and I hope everyone has a nice rest of their evening, morning, night, whatever time of day it is, and I hope everyone enjoyed Higurashi, and more will be coming next week. Thank you everyone, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you could leave a like and a subscribe if you want to see more, that'd be awesome. Thank you everyone, and I hope everyone has a nice rest of their day. Goodbye!